Now we have a choice, right? This or the Emily's. Notice a gender difference? We're empowering ourselves. Empowering ourselves. Take control of your horse's feet. Do what you want to do with your own horse's feet. So what do we need to find out? How do we have a successful barefoot program? The trim is imperative. And I'm not here to discuss the trim with you. There's lots of roads to roam, and there's lots of very good trimmers out here, I'm sure, who know how to trim a horse's feet and keep a successful barefoot program. But it's imperative because our horses aren't wild horses anymore. In a wild horse environment, horses would be running around 20 miles a day, foraging for food, running with the herd, trimming their own feet. They'd be on hard, arid ground, and the blood would be pumping, and the hoof would be expanding and contracting. When they want to drink, when they get thirsty, they'd go in a watering hole and stand there and hydrate internally and provide elasticity for their hoofs. What do we do now? We give them water in buckets. You know, it's really up to us, if we want to have a successful barefoot program, to understand what happens in a wild horse environment. And that means a lot of those nuances. You know, why does your horse look a little nervous today? Why is his eyebrow up like this today? Why is he swishing his tail? You've got to pay attention to these signs, and you've got to live in syntony and understand your horse if you want to have a successful natural program. Feed is very important. You know, a lot of us think the greener the grass, the better the horse is going to be. You know, green grass has a lot of fructose in it. You know, we're running into laminitis with horses because we're feeding them all these things. You know, there's a lot of companies, commercial companies popping up telling us what to feed our horses. Don't be fickle. You know what I heard the other day? Sun-cured alfalfa. How the hell else are you going to cure it? You know? And it's like, for some reason, sun-cured makes it beautiful. You know, and you probably think about this for yourself as well. What about all this wheat-free, dairy-free, you know, fat-free foods? You know, it's laden with sugar, but it's got no fat. You know, dairy-free, it's laden with chemicals, but it's got no dairy in it. You know, now there's a big thing, gluten-free. You know, everything's gluten-free, but it's with a ton of sugar and preservatives. And you start to read the labels, don't you? For yourself? Well, I'll tell you what, you got to do it for your horses too, because there's a lot of, you know, commercial interest out there into selling us stuff. And we're very fickle as horse owners because we want to do the right thing by our horses, right? So if people come up with a good story, we'll say, okay, we'll try it because we want our horses to be comfortable. A lot of the products that get dumped on the equine industry are substandard products that they're using to make extruded horse feed and stuff like that. So we've got to be really aware. You know, another example is blanketing. You know, you know, there's lots of different colors, there's lots of different seasons, there's lots of different ideas for blanketing. And I mean, sure, if you've got an exorbitant amount of flies, you want to put a fly sheet on, right? But I see horses blanketed every different season. There's another blanket, there's another hood, there's another color. The largest muscle mass under the horse's body lies just under the first layer of skin, just under the dermis. And when the horse gets hot or cold, that muscle mass activates to lift the hair follicles. And those hair follicles insulate the horse from cold or hot. When you've got a blanket laying on him, that muscle mass lies dormant. The biggest muscle mass on the horse's back lies dormant. And that depletes his immune system because the biggest muscle mass in the horse's back isn't functioning. So I urge you to use blankets when necessary, but don't keep them living bundled up in a blanket. Horses aren't like humans. They don't need to be in nice feather blankets. They don't need to be in soft bedded stalls. You know, one of the things I see that really breaks my heart, and everybody thinks they're doing the right thing, is they've got their horses in stalls all day long, where they have no interaction and they have no movement. You go and stand in your bathroom and close the door and stand there all day long. Don't talk to anybody and don't move. That's what your horse feels if he's standing in a stall all day. So you've got to give your horse movement. You've got to allow him to play with his friends. You know, they've done studies. Stalled horses have far more behavioral issues than horses who are allowed to be free. They crib, they weave, they stomp, they twitch. So you want to have a successful natural barefoot program, you've got to take all these things into consideration.